Hey, Thriving Launchers. Today we're going to be talking about what the 5% best salespeople in the world are doing that help them make more money than anyone else and helps their companies and businesses grow like crazy. So tune into this episode. Welcome to Thriving Launch with Luis Congdon and Kamala Chambers, the show for heart-centered entrepreneurs who want it all. How would you like to be able to interview world-class experts, sit down and have chats with people like Jack Canfield, Marianne Williamson, Robert Kiyosaki, Tim Ferriss, you name it? Would you love to interview other people that you really admire and consider to be your heroes? Well, we've created a course for you that teaches you how to podcast, how to set it all up, and how to get going so that you can really have a successful show and you can do it properly. Over at thrivinglaunch.com, we have a podcasting course, and it's there for you, waiting for you to snatch it up. So head on over to thrivinglaunch.com, and let me teach you how to podcast the right way.
We're here with Jaime Jim Hernandez. We're excited to have him here. He's a president, a CEO, and he's been recognized on the Inc. 5000 list.
All right, Thriving Launchers, let's jump in. Jim, are you ready to launch?
I'm ready to launch.
So, Jim, you wanted to specifically discuss how to create better sales with new customers and how to retain customers, which I think is such a big topic, and today we'll do our best to cover it. But one of the things that I feel like a lot of people don't understand is how to retain clients, because they close that sale, they get that deal, they do the service, but then they don't know what else to do with it. They don't really know how to what that means. So what do you mean when you talk about client retention?
So client retention's become the hot topic. You know, the internet and advertising has changed completely. So the internet has changed advertising completely, and building relationships, especially in the last recession, has really changed how people feel about this. And so what we've discovered in our work over the last 20 years is that retention and follow-up is where the top 5% of salespeople live and the top businesses live. Even Amazon and Google measure big numbers on retaining customers. They know it's a big deal. So they want people to keep coming back because it's less expensive. And if you build a great relationship with a customer, then they're going to refer their friends and family, and it makes this business easier for the seller and for the customer.
Let's talk about some clear and concrete ways that people can implement this into their business. What are some of the top ways that you recommend doing client follow-up?
So what I found is that you have to adapt it to the customer. So even working with folks at Nordstrom's, they have the customers because they follow up for their sales or events or new products come in, and they say, well, Jim, I have my customers that want to be texted to, I have my customers who want to emailed to, and my customers who appreciate a phone call. And in my business, what I've learned is that I have to adapt to the customer. Even to the point when BlackBerries were around, I carried a second phone because my clients wanted to be what's called BBM'd. They wanted to be texted that way. So I have multiple ways to communicate with them. And whether they're a phone call person or they're a text person or email person, following up with them is how they want to communicate, even to the point where you have the opportunity to go really old school on them and meet with them is such an important thing to do.
Hearing you talk about Nordstrom is interesting because I recall reading an article not too long ago about the top salespeople at Nordstrom. And these are people that are on the ground floor. Is an article about them, and these people that are making six figures annually selling suits and selling clothing. And one of the people mentioned in that article says he has returning clients who have his personal cell phone. And one of the examples he gave is his client called and said, hey, I need a suit. I want to drop in, grab it. And the sales floor person just like went and found them the perfect suit. They came in, they paid for it and walked out. And he talked about multiple examples of clients like this, that you build this kind of relationship with each other. And in business, that seems, for most people, they don't know how to mix business and friendship. There's a certain element of business and friendship. Have you found a certain way to do that you might suggest to people to, how they can do that, or the importance of those two kind of mixing?
Well, it's interesting you say that because the big issue is trust, and businesses building trust and earning trust with clients. online reviews, conversations all about trust. And yet we don't sometimes believe we need to build a relationship. And ways in which you can build a relationship is don't make it just about selling the customer. I can guarantee you that that salesperson that sells a suit, like the gentleman that sells me my suits and delivers them to my door here at the office, he knows something about my life. He knows how I'm going to use my suits, and he gets into the personal issues that affect me around what I'm selling. And I worked to give you an example, I worked with a salesperson in Panama City, Panama, who went from being amongst the best in Latin America to doubling that. In his sales results, he went from 18 average sales per month to 35. And the big thing he changed in his sales process was he took the database of customers that he had was 10 years old, and he really started to work at getting in contact with his people and following up with them. And what happened was he became an uncontrolled version of he didn't have time to wait for people to walk in the door. He built his business completely on customers would come back and referral from those customers. And we're talking about a very traditional automobile sale that people have a bad opinion about because lots of people do it poorly. But I've learned, whether it be automobiles or travel or insurance, the top 5% add the word care into their sales process with their customers, which is what we really want. We want to be taken care of and cared of, whether you're walking into a restaurant or you're buying an automobile, or you mentioned buying a suit, being taken care of. That's why Nordstrom's is so successful, Dave. There's actually somebody there to care about you. Lots of retail locations don't even have any. You got to go look for somebody, and they have somebody who's going to give you that personal attention that you're looking for.
What are some of the most unique ways that you've seen people care for their customers?
Oh, so when they really get to know their customers, I've seen salespeople send out simple things like a gift for their baby when they have children, anniversary presents. I personally call them and sing happy birthday to them on their birthday. In fact, what I learned also to make my life easier is that I deal with lots of CEOs in multiple countries, and they have great gatekeepers and their executive assistants. And I happen to have the birthday for every executive assistant that I need to get by, so that I can call them on their birthday, to the point when I missed the 5th year in a row of not calling an executive assistant once, she was disappointed that I missed her birthday.
That is such a cool thing. And people never feel like that's are you talking about people that you know, or just sometimes people you don't know them and you call them and wish them happy birthday as well?
No, I'm talking about clients that I'm trying to build a relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
That I'll call them on an annual basis. I picked up some work last year. I hadn't done business with the individual for 12 years, but I knew how many kids he had now. The kids are all small. I'll call him annually on his birthday, and when his favorite soccer team wins, because he's from Central America, I'll send him a note of congratulations, and we built a relationship around that. And then over those 12 years, I maybe saw him once at an industry event, but when it came to him needing our help, he picked up the phone and called. And that's what you want. You want to become the person that takes care of whatever it is you do. You want to be their specialist. So that I don't buy suits from anybody else than the person that comes and helps me with my suits or shirts. We get our travel from one person. We buy our automobiles from one dealership, because those and I become loyal because they make me feel important. And I think that's where big business misses it, is they are so focused on getting new sales they forget about the great customers they already have.
And here's something I know, Thriving Launchers, you guys are probably wondering, like, how does Jim keep all this information together? And I recall reading an article recently about Tom Cruise, and whenever he does movies with people, like the main co-stars that he does movies with, there was an article about how he sends all of them birthday gifts every year, and he doesn't miss a beat with that. And one of the things I wonder is, somebody's doing a lot of business, meaning all kinds of people. How do you keep that kind of information together in your head? What do you do to help yourself remember that kind of thing? Because I know that for me, it's not easy to remember people's names or birthdays or kids and so on, especially when you rack up, over 100 clients. Like, that's a lot of data to keep together. What do you do for that?
I call it Outlook. People go, "You're amazing. You remembered my birthday." I go, "Well, I'd like to think I'm amazing, but I have everything in my Outlook, both my personal life and my business life, down to, because I care about my kids. You can use Outlook for so many things that my wife puts in all their practices and all their games and all their events, so that when I'm traveling, I can talk to them over the phone as to how did it go today with drum practice or basketball practice or something they had special going on at school. And if you do treat your clients the same way, it can make a big difference.
One of the things that I'm finding really cool about what you're talking about is how it relates to a book that I'm reading right now all about what's called contact marketing. So
Mm-hmm.
for all you guys listening, maybe you know or are aware of like funnels, and you go to somebody's website and you sign up and you get these emails, and that feels nice, and everybody's doing that. And there's this whole other thing called contact marketing, which is a lot more personal, whether it's meeting people and then sending them phone calls. And one of the things that I like to do sometimes, Jim, is with some of my clients and some people who've come on the podcast, is I send them these little decks that I created back from when I used to work with married couples, and I send them these decks that they can use as a couple. And there's some science behind it. It comes with a little article, and it's kind of in this little plastic case, and I send them that, and people
Right.
absolutely love that. And one of the things that's really making me think about is how a lot of times business is not about the business, but it's about the things that you have in common in the relationship that you can build.
I have a great friend in the pest control business, and he's managed to grow here in Southern California. You can imagine in pest control, there's lots of competition. And he'll even admit that, they have to spray the same chemicals because the business is so regulated. So it comes down to how they do it and how they take care of their clients. And making a difference in somebody's life and making it personal and really taking care of them. The relationship, he has 300 people in trucks driving around Southern California, handling everything from Target and Starbucks to my house. And it's how they go about it that makes a difference, not necessarily what they have or how much they charge. In fact, there's a great book when you talk about sending things, that when you're trying to build a relationship, and you have to be careful with this because companies have regulations, especially in the Fortune 500, but there's a great book called Giftology. And it's kind of an extreme version of giving corporate gifts, but rather than having, a pen or a cup or a water bottle, coming up with something that's unique and personal to them without your company name on it, but they'll remember you for, is another way to get in there and build relationships. And you don't have to spend a lot of money necessarily, but it has to be about them and not about you and your business.
I love that, really personalizing it.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up here, is there anything else that maybe we haven't already covered that you want to make sure we talk about in terms of building and creating those client relationships?
If you want to thrive in sales, you have to do what the top 5% do, and that's about staying in touch with your existing clients and then building your prospecting effort, starting with those existing clients. I think we sometimes direct sales organizations to go out and chase new business, and they forget about the existing ones. And the gold mine is always in the existing clients. So that's what I would tell them, where to start. They really want to grow their business and profits.
Thriving Launchers, I feel like that's a great note to end on here, and a great reminder. Stay in touch with the people that already know, like, and trust you, and keep that trust going, keep that like and that connection going. And I know it's something, as I've done this interview with you here, Jim, that I've thought about. Like, I'm listening to you I'm going, man, there's some people that I haven't reached out to in a while, and I've been focused a little too much on some of the new clients and getting new clients, and that's something that definitely drives a business, is business growth. A lot of times we think about front loading it and getting those clients, those new clients through the door, but we forget that the existing clients or clients who we haven't talked to in a while, they've already invested in us. They've already shown that they like us. So without further talking and babbling here, Thriving Launchers, go and reach out to the people that have already done business with you and just say hello or wish them a happy birthday or happy anniversary. But make sure to connect with those people, because they are the people that probably are waiting to hear from you. And once they do, they'll be excited to buy something from you or refer someone to you. And until next time, Thriving Launchers, we'll see you on the next episode.
You've been listening to the Thriving Launch podcast. For books and resources related to today's episode, make sure to head over to thrivinglaunch.com. We'll see you there.